So if you're a dealership leader, your inbox is probably flooded with pitches for AI agents that promise to change everything, right? But the real question is, how do you tell what's a true growth engine and what's just expensive hype? Well, in this explainer, we're going to build a simple, clear framework you can use to evaluate all this AI tech, so you can make the decisions that are actually going to drive your business forward.
All right, let's just get this out of the way right up front. This is the single most important thing that nobody in a sales demo wants to say out loud. There is no sentient AI. Not in your CRM, not in that chatbot, not anywhere. We've got to get that clear from the very beginning.
So, if it's not a thinking machine, what are we actually dealing with here? In this first section, we're going to tear down that myth of the sentient AI and get real about what the technology you're seeing today actually is.
And this distinction right here, it's absolutely critical. See, sentience means consciousness, feelings, an inner life. But the AI you're being sold, it has none of that. It is simply mathematical pattern matching on a massive, massive scale. It's not thinking, it's calculating.
A great way to think about it is this idea of a stochastic parrot. It's a system that can mimic human language almost perfectly because it's analyzed billions of conversations. But, and this is the key, it has zero understanding of the words it's using. It's basically autocomplete on steroids, not a real mind.
And this is the crucial takeaway. When a chatbot sounds warm and understanding, that's not empathy, it's probability. The AI has just calculated that using certain words is the most likely way to de-escalate a situation or build some rapport. It's a performance of sentience, not the real thing.
Okay, so with the myth-busting out of the way, let's get to the real core of this. This is the framework you can use to categorize pretty much every AI tool that's pitched to you. We're going to decode the jargon and really nail down the fundamental difference between what's called generative and agentic AI. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Generative AI creates messages. You give it a prompt, and it gives you back a response: an email, a social media post, a text message. Agentic AI, on the other hand, is designed to create outcomes. It's not just sitting there waiting for a prompt, it is actively working towards a goal. Here's an even simpler way to look at it. Think of generative AI as a writer. Its job is to create content for you to use. And agentic AI, well, that's a worker. Its job is to perform tasks on its own to achieve a business objective. One gives you words, the other gives you actions. Big difference.
Let's make this real with a dealership example. So, a generative tool, it can write a really clever Facebook ad for those F-150s that have been sitting on your lot for way too long. And that's it. That's where its job ends. An agentic system, though, it sees your 62 days into aging inventory, it automatically adjusts your pricing logic, it launches a whole targeted campaign, it deploys a BDC follow-up sequence, and it starts booking appointments. All of that without a single human clicking approve. See the difference? Okay, so how do you spot the difference when you're in a sales demo? This is your reality check. We're going to build your toolkit with 3 specific, pointed questions you can ask to vet these vendors and cut through all that AI washing that's out there. Okay, question number 1. Ask about system integration. You have to ask, can the AI actually write new information to my DMS or my CRM, like booking a real appointment or updating a lead status? Or can it only read data? Because if your staff still has to manually enter the information the AI generates, it's not a true agent. It's just a faster typewriter.
Second, you have to ask about autonomy. Can I give it a high-level goal, like sell these 5 overstocked trucks, and actually trust it to create and execute a whole plan? Or do I have to prompt every single individual action it takes? If you're micromanaging every step, you don't have an autonomous system. You just have a simple script.
And number 3, ask about its reach. A real agent has to be able to move between your different software tools, from your inventory system to your marketing platform over to your CRM, to actually get a workflow done. If it's trapped inside its own little dashboard, its ability to create real outcomes is going to be severely limited.
And all this, it brings us to the big picture. Why does this distinction between a writer and a worker really matter? Well, because your ultimate goal here isn't to just buy more tools, it's to build intelligent infrastructure that actually powers your growth.
This slide shows the competitive divide that is opening up right now. You've got the reactive dealership on one side, waiting for a report, holding a meeting, chasing problems that are already weeks old. Then you have the integrated dealership, with systems that anticipate those problems and execute the response automatically. One is playing checkers with last month's data, the other is playing chess with next month's margin.
Look, when you build AI as infrastructure, execution becomes automatic. You start removing all that human friction from your revenue-generating processes. And when that happens, your growth isn't just 1 + 1 + 1 anymore. It actually begins to compound. And that is the real prize here.
But let's be super clear about something. AI doesn't replace leadership, it amplifies it. If you can't see what your systems are doing, or audit their logic, or override them when you need to, then you are not in control. And as the quote says, intelligence without that control isn't an asset, it's a liability dressed up in a pretty demo. So as you're evaluating your next move, just ask yourself this one final question. If a human still has to push every single step forward, have you actually bought a growth engine, or did you just buy a very, very expensive approval button?